In this video, we're going to look at power, and not many teams continue to run power the traditional way like they did probably 5 or 6 years ago. A lot of teams have gotten away from it, would rather get a guard or a tackle on that end, whether they're running zone, duo, counter, whatever it is. They want to get that bigger body on that defensive end, especially front side. But one team that really continues to run power the traditional way is Florida. Obviously, they did it quite a bit with quarterback power, but in this video, we're going to look at the traditional power with a few RPOs thrown in there that Florida has done this past year, and a lot of good stuff. And there we'll have another video where we look at how they run that quarterback power, just like they did when they had Tim Tebow and when they had Dak Prescott for Dan Mullen and all those guys. We'll look at power today and see exactly what they're doing. In this look from Florida, they're in a twin set. They've got their H-back offset over here, single receiver, double receivers over here. Georgia's in a 4-front, 4-2 box right here, so really good look to run power. Obviously, a lot of times in 4-front, that guy's going to squeeze, which is fine. But the rules right here, play side tackle, play side guard, you can have your inside gap to backside linebackers. So right here, it's a long ways to go for that linebacker, so probably going to step with your inside foot with that 3 technique. They're going to double him for that backside linebacker, first element backside. So we're going to check right there. Gap hinge, square pull, skip pull right there for the front side linebacker and one linebacker in the box. Kick him. Then the fullback's job is he's blocking the C-gap defender, preferably kicking him out. If he squeezes, you can down block that, and you can log that and turn that into a down block and try to push him as far down the line of scrimmage as possible, and hopefully that guard reads that and gets outside. But we'll look at see what takes place. So ball snapped right there again, getting a double team. Long ways for that linebacker to come, so he can sit on that double team quite a bit. Here's a center check pulling. He's basically basing right there instead of really gap hinging, knowing that, again, there's no linebacker presence right there really close to the line of scrimmage. And I think they got a little bit of an RPO out here on this side, so you want to base that. You don't want to go gap and give him a free run right there to the quarterback if that is a pull read. But right here, we'll continue to play it. You can see right there he's squeezing a little bit, gets his hat to the inside of that fullback, which is not ideal for the fullback. And there's the square pull. So we'll look at the square pull one more time. So right there, skip pull, keeping it short square to the line of scrimmage, filling in right there for the front side linebacker. Does a really good job. Again, coming to balance, trying to get him trying to kick if possible right there. He has a license to miss. Obviously, be aggressive right there. Try to keep your head out of that contact. And look at this double team. You can see getting 600 pounds right there on that 3 technique, and he's going to work up to that linebacker that's filling late. So right there, picture perfect play right there for that. Obviously, the center's falling on his face. That's probably not exactly what they're hoping for, but right there, backside in, just filling in. Getting 4 or 5 right there. Florida probably knowing that they're going to go for it on 4th down if they get close at all right here. So they run the power, and they get 4 or 5, make it a manageable situation there for 4th down. This play right here is the exact same formation and the same scheme, obviously different hash, but there's a little bit of variance right here as far as the tempo. So just talking about the rules, inside gap to backside linebacker, inside gap to backside linebacker. You got a guy head up right here, so probably going to double that nose to the backside, gap hinge, square pull in there for the front side. He's going to take that C gap. But the interesting part about this is also the variance in the tempo. So I gave their count. Everybody's relaxing. You can see these guys are looking over. Fullback stands up a little bit. Quarterback relaxes a little bit, and see what it does to the defense. A lot of teams have been doing this. You got a guy on his knee right there. He's looking over for the call. So all that stuff is what they're hoping for on a 3rd and 4. And right there, real quickly, they snap the ball. Now they're running power to the left right here. So what that ends up doing with that little bit of a relaxation right there, he's on a knee when the ball snaps. He's not, this play side linebacker is not ready when the ball snaps. That allows his guard right here to really get ahead of steam and catch that guy off guard. Great job putting his play side shoulder right there and driving that guy for a big block. But we'll continue to work back a little bit. You can see down block right here. This guard does a great job of don't avoid contact. He gives a little bit of a chip, and this guard does the same thing. Gives another little chip. Seems like this tackle's having a little bit of trouble with that chip. He throws them into the hole where they're really wanting to go, but right there, he feels to the backside linebacker, and then he chips on that, puts him back into the A gap, which obviously running that A gap right there for that running back wouldn't be the worst thing in the world on that power. So not a bad job right there with that chip as he's going. Don't avoid contact if you don't need to. Another thing, obviously, this time the fullback does a really good job. Boom, he stuns him, and then he works strong inside hand, trying to work his hips in the hole right there, just like he does. And right here, Florida ends up getting the first down. A big part of the game right here where they're able to continue this drive, and it was just with a little bit of variance of tempo and running old school power right there downhill. Here's Florida running power again to the tight end. The only difference that changes right here is he's in line as opposed to off the ball. It's really good to put that tight end in line against these three fronts. Messes with their fits a little bit, so right here he's going to end up being a D-gap defender. If he's a 4-4-I B-gap player, down blocking right there, and now he's got a couple gaps that he has to fill. So right here, as you kind of get a little bit closer, you know, hey, he's going C-gap. We're going to down block right there. Obviously, if that linebacker is a long ways off, not going to just leave our guy. We're going to get a little bit of double team if we can. But right here, he just works straight up because there's a lot of space right there. It's just a 4. He's head up, so he's going to be singled right there. He's going to be on the nose. Again, hopefully working your hips that direction. Square pull for the first linebacker in the box. And then we've got a gap hinge over here. Also with this trip set, they're running bubble. Looking for this safety right here. He's got to go with them to try to create that box and make sure that the numbers are correct. And over here, they're going to leave the corner. Leave those corners, make those guys come into the box, make plays. They're not used to getting into the box and making fits. Even if they do come and make a tackle, it's probably going to be one of those things where you're going to get 3 or 4 yards. But right here, as he's going on this angle, one thing with this to the backside linebacker, you always want to go at a shallow angle. Worst case scenario is he slices this back door and you get a negative play or a play for no gain. Make him go over the top just like he does right here. He's going over the top because it's going to be a 2 or 3 yard gain at the very least, and he's probably going to fall forward or maybe make that guy miss for a bigger play. And one thing that's really good, obviously, you got a little bit of space right here between this tight end and this outside backer. But we've got to come to balance. We're working, trying to make sure our hat's on the inside. Right there, just a little bit. Keep working those hips. Try to get your hips in the hole that we're trying to go to. He does a good job right there. And obviously, running back makes his corner miss, and then this backer that float over the top makes him miss as well, and gets vertical, falls forward for about 7 or 8 yards on just a simple power out of a trips close set. Here's a look at power that, if you're a big fan of power, this is what you're going to want to see. You got a tight end wing over here, and exact same rules. Now it's just extends to the tight end since we got another guy that's going to block this. Now it's a D gap. So from guard to tight end, you've got your inside gap to backside linebacker. If I was coaching the tight ends, I'd say, hey, inside gap to first linebacker. So he'd be right there on that guy. Because odds are safety or somebody's going to replace and your numbers and all that. So they're going to get down into the box. That'll be who the puller is going for. So we'll look at this real quick. And as you play it, you see down blocks, he's going back to that shade. Going to get a little bit of a double team there to the backside from tackle and guard. Down on the 7 tech. He's going to squeeze. There's no immediate D-gap threat, so he wants to squeeze, stay tight, and see who the first threat is that shows up into the box. That ends up being this linebacker that's filling the play side linebacker, which is fine, and then the guard will make his right, which he ends up missing a little bit, so he ends up getting the play side linebacker anyway, leaving the safety, leaving the corner unblocked. And we'll see you've got a free hitter here from the backside linebacker, and the reason for that is this 3 technique does a pretty good job. He's trying to work vertical into that guy to get there, but he does a pretty good job of making him stay flat so that backer will be free over the top right there to make a play. But right there, one-on-one in the hole, again, running back and linebacker one-on-one in the hole, got to make a play, and right there makes him miss, and again, falls forward for about 4 or 5 yards on the old school power. This look right here, Florida's in a bunch set over here. They've actually got their fullback over here. He works over, you got a tight end, you got a fullback. If you're a fan of guys going under center, running power, and making sure that literally, I don't think they got a deep safety right back here for Georgia, but literally everybody but one guy is within about 10 yards by 10 yards square. This is what you're going to like. Hopefully nobody drops a grenade over there because everybody's going to get a little shrapnel. But right here, in motion their fullback across. Again, everybody's inside gap. On this one, this tight end with this 3 front, there's really no C-gap threat, so he's going to go to number 1 linebacker front side, and then he's going to motion across, just like we talked about, so he's getting over there. Here's the D-gap player that he's going to take advantage of. He's going to block, hopefully block out. They step down right there into the box. That'll be the guy that the puller, the front backside guard is pulling for, skip pulling and all that. So we'll play it. You can see here's the skip pull. There's nobody in that C-gap, so he's going to work to the first linebacker inside. He's squeezing pretty hard, so right there, hey, just push that guy as far down as you can. Try to keep him flat so that you can get around that. You don't want to get much penetration. which obviously right there he's squeezing, he's trying to go vertical so then he can take 2 for 1 and knock off that guard. So now you got free hitters. But right here does a pretty decent job of stalemating him, wash him that direction. He feels around for that linebacker, and it's a really good block. He ends up just blowing this kid up. He's mollywopped that guy, got that front side shoulder on him, and just tossed him. And again, like we talked about, leave those corners. Here's the guy right here. Obviously, he's a corner for Georgia, so he's pretty good. Not going to make the play. All right, there's no way a corner, 90% of the time, a corner will not tackle a running back if it comes down to it one-on-one. So right there, great job right there on that. Good read by the guard, and then really good job being physical, rolling those hips through, make that corner miss. He's getting vertical, and just the pursuit from the backside. And again, those angles to the backside backer, they're going to double. He turns into a big gap play. This 4 or 4-eye turns to a big gap player. He pinches, so they're going to try to double him to that backside linebacker. He does a great job stalemating that, not allowing that guy to get up to that linebacker, and he's the one that flows over the top and is able to make that play for a stop right there. If he's not there and they get that double team, he'll be one-on-one with number 25 there after about 5 or 6 yards and see what happens after that. But really good play by that linebacker. But obviously that play was made by this 4-eye or this D tackle right here, who's able to hold off both of these blockers and not allow them one to get up to that backside linebacker. But again, old school football, getting those guys under center, running power in a condensed set, about 4 yards right there on a 1st and 10 in a 21-21 game in Georgia, Florida. Everything's right in the world whenever you get into big sets like that and you're running power. You're able to get 4 yards a pop. One of those plays that Florida and Dan Mullen have ran quite a bit, and we'll have another video where we look at quarterback power from this past year. But I really enjoyed power. Have gotten away from it. I think a lot of people have. It's one of those things we may have to get back to.